Welcome to today's webinar brought to you by Precisely. I'm Stephen Fegg, Director of Database Trends and Applications and Unisphere Research. I will be your host for today's broadcast. Our presentation today is titled Modernizing IT at Scale, Turning the SAP S/4HANA Shift into a Broader Transformation. Before we begin, I want to explain how you can be a part of this broadcast. There will be a question and answer session. If you have a question during the presentation, just type it into the question box provided and click on the Submit button. We're going to try to get to as many questions as possible later. Now, to introduce our speaker for today, we're very excited to have with us Martin Munka, Principal Product Manager at Precisely. Welcome to the broadcast, Martin.
Thank you, Stephen. All right, so what are we going to talk about today? I want to start off with what we call the CIO's dilemma, then introduce Precisely Automate, and in today's AI-driven world, talk about artificial intelligence and master data. Afterwards, I will spend a few minutes talking about some S/4HANA modernization challenges that are related to SAP Fiori, and also talk about integration challenges for end-to-end business process automation. Finally, I will wrap things up with some future trends in automation and answer some questions. So let's get started. Over many years now, we hear from business and IT the need to transform their systems and processes. But CIOs today are facing what we call the CIO's dilemma. And what do we mean by that? First, you're trying to run a business in a highly dynamic and unpredictable environment, seeing supply chain disruptions and soaring costs. Then the pressure of SAP modernization, where 60% of projects run over budget or behind schedule. And the breakneck speed of AI innovation, which demands clean, governed, and trustworthy data. And all of this is happening at once, often with limited resources. And this creates a tension between maintaining today's operations and preparing for tomorrow's innovation. On the left is how today often feels: long IT lead times, manual processes, and fragmented data. On the right is where the business needs to be: agile innovation, scalable automation, and high-integrity data-driven insights. And especially in an AI-driven world, scalable automation and high-integrity data are crucial. So what are the obstacles to modernize your SAP environment? In most companies, making the transition to SAP S/4HANA is often at the heart of a broader IT transformation. We understand that moving to S/4HANA is not merely a technical upgrade, and rather it is a highly complex and potentially disruptive initiative that can have profound impacts on your business. To implement automation, you have to overcome challenges with the complexity of SAP business processes. Time and cost are another challenge. S/4HANA migrations frequently take years and result in delays and cost overruns. And the transition between systems creates confusion among business users due to multiple different user experiences and unfamiliar processes. We hear about these challenges again and again from customers who are moving from SAP ECC to S/4HANA. And that's why automation is so important. Automation can help you to optimize and speed up business processes to gain revenue sooner, simplify SAP modernization and reduce the drag on your IT team, accelerate productivity through fewer manual tasks and faster results, ensure your data is AI ready, clean, governed, and trusted, and gain IT agility by removing traditional bottlenecks. Precisely Automate helps you achieve all of this through a strategic no-code and low-code automation platform. The Precisely family of products consists of Automate Studio, Studio Manager, and Evolve. Automate Studio empowers your business teams to use Excel to create and manage SAP data. With simple, business-friendly Excel templates, users can perform mass data changes, post transactions, or validate records in minutes. Next, we have Automate Studio Manager. an enterprise-grade administration and governance platform to maximize the value, security, and efficiency of Automate Studio within organizations that rely on SAP for critical business processes. It addresses the growing need for centralized control and governance over automation scripts and is ideal for IT, SAP centers of excellence, and business teams. Automate Studio Manager ensures your business-led automation is scalable and secure. And the third product is Automate Evolve. It is a comprehensive orchestration engine for complex data-intensive SAP master data processes. You can design, deploy, and manage enterprise-grade workflows that connect users, systems, and data across your landscape. You can enable secure approvals, enforce business rules, and build integrations, and all with a user-friendly form-based interface. Precisely Automate is a proven and mature automation platform for handling complex data-intensive SAP processes. This has been our focus for over 20 years now, and the numbers speak for themselves. We are in over 90 of the Fortune 100 and work in many of the largest companies in the world. In 2024 alone, our customers processed over 3 billion SAP records. They achieved substantial productivity and efficiency gains, like, for example, 50 to 75% faster product launches, 90% reduction in material change cost, a 97% faster customer creation, or an 87% reduction in vendor qualification time. One customer posted over 20,000 journal entries in just 4 days with full compliance and auditability. And those are just a few examples. And we've also supported multiple complex S/4HANA migrations, enabling faster, cleaner data transitions, even in highly customized environments. In one case, a metals manufacturer used Precisely Automate for their entire ECC to S/4HANA data migration, handling complex customizations that SAP couldn't. They also now perform monthly data cleansing and revalidation using Automate, ensuring ongoing data integrity post-migration. So why Precisely Automate? Well, because you can achieve a faster time to value and deploy in days or weeks and not months or years. Because it empowers citizen developers and allows you to scale faster with our no-code and local development. It offers a lower total cost of ownership. It is flexible and extensible across SAP and non-SAP platforms. It has integrated governance and auditability to improve data quality, compliance, and security. And it is a platform for scalable automation, from a single process to enterprise-wide transformation. The result are better business outcomes with greater agility, stronger data, and less risks. All right, so these days, of course, we need to talk about AI. And AI relies on data. And I want to talk a little bit about AI and specifically the importance of master data. Data and process are interdependent, and AI can improve data quality, make business processes more efficient, and their automated execution go faster for the business. But there are two ways to look at AI in business processes. The first is to use AI in processes to improve data quality. An example could be where AI helps to identify duplicate records or missing field values. The second is where AI uses existing data to speed up or simplify a process by auto-completing fields, suggesting values or process steps, or even independently performing process tasks. Many organizations focus on the second scenario and use cases, especially with the rise of agentic AI, where agents perform tasks independently and are able to learn and adjust independently. But that requires that the initial data is of high quality. AI agents, or agentic AI, are one of the most talked about AI applications these days that promise big efficiency gains. But what are AI agents? You might see a variety of definitions from different technology companies in this space, but The key characteristics of AI agents are the autonomous AI systems, which can act on behalf of a user or system with minimal human intervention. AI agents will generally use large language models as their reasoning core to interpret the goal and the context of the environment to come up with a plan of execution to meet that goal. In this process, they will identify what tools are available to use and adapt at runtime to try different paths instead of following a rigid or pre-programmed path. And AI agents also work within clearly defined guardrails. Because of these characteristics, especially the concept of autonomous task execution with little to no human intervention, it really requires a very high level of data quality. So when you're planning any AI initiative, the important question to ask from the beginning is, do you feel that your data can be trusted? And many organizations are doing just that. But as you can see here, only a fraction of these leaders, 12% from this survey, for example, feel their data is fit for the purposes they need. The quality and confidence just isn't there. And therefore, many are investing in their data integrity strategies to support key initiatives like ensuring their AI programs deliver value, increasing operational efficiencies, and improving their decision-making and analytics efforts pay off. And an example of important data that requires a high degree of quality, where it is often challenging to achieve that degree of quality, is SAP master data. Most critical SAP business processes rely on accurate master data, and so poor data quality impacts business operations and outcomes. One main reason why it is difficult to maintain a high level of SAP master data quality is complexity. Remember the survey results that I've shown before. Complexity of business processes was identified as one of the main obstacles for automation. And that's where Precisely Automate Evolve plays its strength. It's a solution that enables even non-IT staff to build these complex data-intensive workflow processes. Our customers use Evolve to build very complex workflow processes that can have hundreds of fields on web forms with complex rules and logic for SAP master data processes. Let's take a look at the material master creation process. It is a prime example of how complex a data-intensive SAP process can be. Organizations who manufacture products and need to create and change hundreds and thousands of products per year often have very complex process requirements to ensure that this master data is created correctly, since it represents some of their most important business data. Now, the creation process is often manual and time-consuming to fill out forms, and the SAP material master data is very complex. So what you have is a highly complex process with highly complex data, with lots of possible data entry error points, and lots of business rules to try to prevent data entry errors. And master data errors can have costly downstream consequences, from, let's say, production delays to even products being manufactured incorrectly. This is why having trusted data is so important. What you see here is an example web form designed in Precisely Automate Evolve that can be customized to maximize the user experience. These forms can still have hundreds of fields that the users need to fill out correctly. And so what companies typically do is to create data quality and validation rules and embed those in these forms. However, such a solution for a material master create use case often requires hundreds or even thousands of data rules to be implemented. And like with every hard-coded rule, you need to know the exact scenario that you want to validate. And this is not only very difficult, but also time-consuming to define, implement, and maintain. Those rules often require very specific subject matter expertise and cross-functional alignment between different teams or lines of business, which can be challenging as well. So we looked at ways in which AI can improve this process. And we identified two areas in which we think AI or intelligent algorithms can improve those master data processes. The first one is for rules mining or rules discovery in existing SAP data to identify patterns and generate rules. This intelligent rules discovery reduces the effort to identify rules, provides additional insights, and strengthens decision-making based on real data. The second one is an advanced search and autocomplete algorithm that identifies and returns SAP data based on certain user inputs. It reduces the number of hard-coded rules that are typically needed and also enhances the user experience by providing additional information and pre-populating form fields. And for typical material master use cases, these forms can have hundreds of fields, as mentioned before, so intelligent autocomplete can simplify data entry a lot and improve the user experience. Coming back to the AI-driven process improvement loop that I've talked about before, this is an example where intelligent algorithms add value to master data processes and improve the quality of data, and that is the foundation for other AI processes that rely on high-quality master data. All right, next I want to speak about SAP Fiori. With the deadline of 2027 to end regular support for SAP ECC approaching fast, the migration to S/4HANA is in full swing. Not all ECC customers will migrate by 2027, but many will. In our Precisely ASAC survey last year, 59% stated that they are already live or in progress to move to S/4HANA. Now, what we also see is that migration often happens partially, meaning there is a transition period in which organizations are using both ECC and S/4HANA systems. With the move to S/4HANA, companies are often also evaluating and implementing Fiori apps. But what we found in our survey is that often Fiori is implemented in certain lines of business, and that both Fiori and the classic SAP GUI are used in parallel. So a full transition to only Fiori as the single UI is the exception. In the ASAC survey, we also asked users which Fiori apps they would like or need an automation for. The Fiori apps that are most often named are used in finance, supply chain, or master data, where you also find a lot of manual data entry, and which is similar to transactions in classic SAP GUI with the highest need for automation. Fiori apps with new functionality that is only available via Fiori are also named as a challenge for automation. And while SAP Fiori apps have a more modern UI compared to SAP GUI transactions, they still have many of the same challenges associated with manual data entry. They still have the same number of fields that need to be entered manually. They are still complex and error-prone. Additionally, some new functionality is only available via Fiori apps, and so users have to learn the new Fiori app. Lastly, some users think that all apps on the Fiori Launchpad are true native Fiori apps, where in reality, oftentimes companies deploy a mix of Fiori and classic apps like GUI for HTML on the Fiori Launchpad. In fact, what we see with our customers is that GUI for HTML apps are very commonly used. These GUI for HTML apps can have a Fiori theme laid over them, but in the end are functionally just web-based versions of the SAP GUI T-codes. So while they might look similar to Fiori apps, they don't follow the Fiori design principles, and therefore it can create an additional layer of complexity for users because of the different user experience. And all of these points factor into selecting the right automation tool to give you the lowest total cost of ownership, the fastest data upload speeds, and the best citizen developer experience in creating automation solutions. Automate Studio allows you to replace the data entry for the different UIs most commonly used in S/4HANA, namely Fiori, GUI for HTML, and SAP GUI with Excel. It provides an add-in in Excel so that users can manage data in S/4HANA directly from Excel. It offers a unique user experience that simplifies data entry and also offers better upload performance for mass data creation or changes. Automate Studio consists of multiple modules that cover the different UIs. We have the classic modules, Transaction, Query, and Direct for SAP GUI-based automation. And you can use a transaction script to post one or more rows as individual transactions in SAP. You can create those scripts quickly and easily by recording the screens and fields you use in an SAP session and then map those items to your data set. And the second module is Query that you can use to pull data out of SAP. You can specify the tables and fields for the data you want and then set selection criteria. Selection criteria elements can be user specific, so users who have only run privileges can set their own criteria. And then with the direct module, you can use a BAPI or remote function module to post data to SAP. And then we have two modules in Automate Studio for web-based SAP UIs. The first one is for Fiori apps. You can record those Fiori screens and fields and map them to your Excel dataset. And then you can use the Fiori automation script to post one or more rows of data in SAP S/4HANA. And finally, we have the GUI for HTML module that works pretty much the same way as the Fiori module, just for GUI for HTML apps on the Fiori Launchpad or web GUI transactions that are directly accessible via the easy access menu in the browser. The creation of solutions doesn't require any technical skills and can also be done by business users. So solutions or automate scripts, how we call them, can be created very quickly, and the time to value is very short. It's an easy three-step process of record, map, run, in which you record the transaction of Fiori app data entry and map the recorded fields to an Excel template and then provide it to end users to run. In fact, many of our customers use Studio to fix ad hoc data problems that require immediate attention. But it's also used for migrations to S/4HANA and regular mass data uploads. Think of pricing updates where thousands of prices need to be updated on a regular basis. So why automate SAP Fiori data entry with Automate Studio? What makes Automate Studio unique is that you get the ease of use of a no-code RPA recording experience with the stability and speed of an API integration. And speaking of APIs, besides providing automation during your SAP modernization journey, many customers are interested in providing greater end-to-end automation for business processes that span different teams or departments. And this often requires the integration of different systems in those processes and can be a difficult task. In our survey with ASAC, complexity of business processes and integration with existing processes are consistently named as the top automation challenges. We already talked about the complexity of the material master create process as an example before. Now, many processes require data from multiple systems, and that typically requires an integration via APIs. REST APIs are a common standard, and while the Automate product suite has a long history of making fast and stable connections to your SAP ERP system, Evolve can also integrate with other systems of record using RESTful APIs that enable you to manage and automate broader end-to-end processes. These APIs help solution developers efficiently integrate systems and enable cross-functional business process automation to eliminate manual data management that often leads to poor data quality and ungoverned process tracking. For teams, creating seamless end-to-end process automation solutions Evolve simplifies the complex SAP data interactions with other third-party systems like Salesforce, for example. So, for example, you may have a Salesforce process for customer master data that automatically triggers an Evolve workflow for process automation via our digital access API that results in loading high-quality data into your SAP ERP system. Alternatively, instead of Salesforce or a Salesforce event triggering an Evolve workflow, you may have an Evolve process automation that needs to search and look up data from Salesforce as you're working with your SAP system data, and that is possible as well. Now, in today's world of agentic AI, agents don't communicate and integrate necessarily via REST APIs, but via protocols that are specifically designed for agent-to-agent communication, like MCP. The Model Context Protocol, or MCP, is an open protocol that standardizes how AI agents access systems and applications. For our customers, the Evolve MCP server helps them adopt agentic AI using a standards-based approach and handle complex integration scenarios for data maintenance and data analysis. We can provide the necessary context to AI agents in a controlled and systematic manner while staying in compliance with the governance and tracking features. Integration and end-to-end process automation might always be complex tasks, but these standardized protocols and APIs make it easier. So regardless of where you are in your automation journey, there's likely still room for your business to grow in terms of its automation maturity. We believe that in the future of automation lies in the future of automation lies in the maturation of your automation capabilities in your business organization. There are different levels of automation adoption. Our research showed that only about 10% or so of companies have achieved a very high or high level of automation adoption. About half reported a medium level of adoption, meaning they currently have a mix of automated and manual SAP processes. And many such customers are enabling their business owners or data stewards who are closest to the data and processes as citizen developers of automation solutions for their business areas. Certain business processes easily lend themselves to automation, such as mass data management processes like querying and updating SAP master data. However, complex data-intensive business processes involving multiple constituents across an organization are harder to automate for a number of factors, like the establishment of the expected business rules for that process. What we also see is that the number of companies who achieved a high level of adoption increased over the last 3 years, while the number of companies that reported no automation decreased. So overall, the automation maturity and the number of companies who achieved at least a medium level is increasing. So let's consider how a customer can leverage their automation adoption into improving their level of automation maturity. Regarding the idea that there are different levels of automation maturity, what you'll discover is that your organization will put a premium on new different values as your automation adoption grows. Here's one way to think about how your organization is evolving its automation maturity level and how it will impact the value that automation brings to your organization. In the first 2 levels of automation maturity, you're likely to focus on individual roles like a finance analyst or a master data specialist or department or team activities and automate scripts and solutions for them. The automation measurement of success will be on activity, time saved, or efficiency of reducing the number of hours during a given process. Department leaders tend to think about automation in terms of doing more work with limited resources. However, when you get to the 3rd level of automation maturity, Your business operations leaders in your organization will start to shift their automation value thinking to quantified business outcomes for each specific business use case that you automate. In other words, what does automation success mean in terms of the business impact of a given use case? For instance, if you could reduce the time to market of introducing a new product by 50 to 75%, what would this mean in terms of your competitive advantage rather than just saving 90% of effort in doing data entry, for example? When you get to the fourth level of automation maturity, business leaders in the organization will value increased business agility so they can respond to negative events like an important supply disruption, as well as take advantage of, let's say, sudden market changes when people had to work from home during the pandemic, for example. At this level of automation maturity, great companies start to separate themselves from the good ones. They leverage their business agility gained by automation maturity during market or ecosystem disruptions or economic downturns. Lastly, when you get to the fifth level of maturity, automation is part of your organizational DNA, and the value focus is on organizational optimization. Dynamic prioritization of people, process, and systems with automation aligned to maximize the business outcomes for all the business stakeholders will be your standard operating procedure. Okay, so what are some key takeaways? Well, with the modernization of your SAP environment, which means the migration to S/4HANA and the adoption of software clients like Fiori apps, for example, the need for fit-to-purpose automation platforms that support your business agility is going to grow. And as data growth explodes and businesses want to become more agile and have a faster or more efficient business operation, the importance of automation simplification is going to grow to combat the data and process complexity that we talked about. And lastly, automation maturity will require robust solutions to the integration challenges posed by the need for end-to-end process automation. All right, so back to you, Stephen, for some questions.
Thank you very much, Martin. Okay, so let's dive into our questions. First one, does Automate only work with standard Fiori apps, or can it also be used to automate custom Fiori apps?
Good question. Yes, Automate Studio can also be used for custom Fiori apps, and we have many customers who do that. However, there are a few things to consider. Whether it works or not depends on whether these custom Fiori apps are truly following Fiori design principles and are built on SAP UI5 technology, etc., things like that. So there are some things to consider whether it works or not. But yes, Automate Studio can also be used for custom Fiori apps.
Gotcha. How about cleansing of existing SAP data?
Yes, and that can be done with Automate Studio, and many customers do that. And what they do is they create what we call round trip scenarios, where you extract data via Studio Query, and then update the data or cleanse the data in Excel, and then upload the cleansed or changed data back into SAP. These round trip scenarios can be used and are common for cleansing, but also for regular changes and updates of SAP data. And if you need more complex data transformation than what you can do in Excel, then we also have other products in the Precisely portfolio that you can use in conjunction with Automate to analyze and transform the data. And Automate Studio has been used to cleanse data also as part of migrations from ECC to S/4HANA, either to cleanse the data directly in ECC or as a migration step before posting it to S/4HANA. So either way.
Understood. Okay, next question. You talked about master data use cases, but you also mentioned journal entries. Can Automate be used for transactional data and processes?
Yes, and in fact, the journal entry example that I mentioned before is one of our most popular use cases. And But customers also using Automate Studio for creating and updating sales orders, for example, purchase orders or work orders. So actually, our customers are using Automate Studio for hundreds of different transactions for both master data and transactional data. And we also provide many templates for Automate Studio in our online community. And our online community is actually a very active and amazing place and community where users can ask questions and also get tips and tricks from precisely experts.
Understood. One last question for today. If there's one thing that you would really love our wonderful viewers today to walk away keeping in mind, what would that be? Any words of advice, inspiration, next resources?
Yes, I think the one thing that I would like our viewers to take away is, you know, we talked about automation maturity and automation and I think this is a continuous effort, right? There is no like end goal where you achieved a certain level and you stop. It's something that you need to continuously do to improve. There will always be changes, and so you need to be prepared with your tools and also your processes and your organizational setup to support a continuous effort to drive automation in your organization and to improve automation in your organization.
I would agree. It's never a one and done. It's a continual journey. Okay,
Absolutely,
well,
absolutely.
I would like to give a huge thank you to our speaker today for coming on board and sharing his insights and expertise. Once again, everyone, Martin Monka, Principal Product Manager at Precisely. And if we did not get to your question, apologies. But as I stated earlier, all questions will be addressed. I will be passing these along to the Precisely team to follow up as appropriately. So if you would like to review this presentation or share it with a colleague, you can use the same exact URL that you used for today's live event. This will be archived, and you will receive an email notification once the archive is posted. And if you would like a PDF of the deck, you can go to the handout section once the archive is live. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We hope to see you again soon.